This is Feminist News Network, feminist news that you can use. Today, I want to talk about the continuing efforts. No, it is not over with. The Poor People's Campaign, going strong with many demonstrations and events happening across the country. Monday, it was again the same thing, new protests. It was everybody's got the right to live, education, living wage, jobs, income, and housing. Dr. Barber gave a awesome speech just before being locked up for protesting near the state capitol Monday. Let's hear what he said as recorded by Democracy Now!
The co-chair of the Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival, the Reverend Dr. William Barber.
Say no more, treating people like things, and corporations like people. You saw the rabbi, the imam, and the Christian minister standing together in solidarity. Something's happening. And on this campaign, we also believe in something Dr. King and many others talked about, and that is a basic guaranteed income.
That's right.
If banks are too big to fail, then people are too important to fail. People should not be dying on our streets in the richest nation in the world. And we know that not paying a people a living wage and undermining union rights and cutting social safety nets for the poor in this country, the wealthiest country in the nation in terms of money, is unconscionable. It is a moral sin, and it is a violation of our Constitution's promise to establish justice. When we have these realities of 250,000 people dying, and I know today some say, well, we've stood out here an hour, but imagine living all day outside for 24 hours. Imagine having to worry about health care 24 hours a day. Imagine working at a job that doesn't pay you a living wage day in and day out. Imagine not even having a basic income and not knowing how you're going to feed your children. We have to have a people in this country that are willing to stand as long as it takes and organize as long as it takes and fight as long as it takes. Is to take us backwards on voting rights, and they're expecting one on labor rights. And we're seeing happening in this country now what we haven't seen since 1883, when the Supreme Court overturned the Civil Rights Acts of 1875. It is unconscionable. It is a moral sin. It is a violation of the promises to establish justice. That's right. Oh, there's a special place. Whenever folk get up in the morning and all they can think of is how to block living wages and take care from the poor and the least of these. And that's why if we really love this nation and the people of this nation, we must have mass, nonviolent fusion, moral, civil disobedience. We must have mass voter mobilization. And we must have mass power building among the poor, and we must not stop until things change.
Did you hear that? Hello. And I heard that your woman got locked up along with others that stayed overnight this time. They didn't let them out right away. Oh, getting a little too defiant for you, huh? Gotta teach them a lesson this time. Well, in Boston, in New York, and other places, there were demonstrations too. Let's hear about that.
On Monday, scores of people were arrested in front of the Supreme Court as part of a national day of action for the new Poor People's Campaign, protesting poverty and racism. This is Reverend Dr. William Barber speaking at the rally just before he, too, was arrested.
How many of you understand how the Supreme Court justices get on the court?
9 religious leaders led by Reverend Liz Theo Harris were arrested at the Supreme Court and have been held overnight in jail by Capitol Police. They were among dozens of people arrested in nationwide protests staging a moral revival 50 years after Martin Luther King Jr.'s original Poor People's Campaign. In downtown Boston, protesters blocked traffic to demand a higher minimum wage. In Olympia, Washington, activists erected tents to protest homelessness and unaffordable housing. In Sacramento, California, hundreds rallied outside the California Association of Realtors office to protest evictions. Monday's actions were part of the Poor People's Campaign's 5th week of nationwide protests, leading to a major march in Washington on June 23rd.
Happening what needs to happen. They need to put up those tents in the middle of the streets. They need to let them know this is important. California needs to go ahead and do what it's doing, and it needs to happen everywhere else too, from Flint down to Sarasota, to Georgia, over to Louisiana. This is real. There's over 140 million people in America living in poverty, and half of those are children. We need to get serious about this, America. There ain't enough reality TV show, gossip news watching, bullshit news media listening crap out there to where you can't get your ass together and realize what's really going on. You can take care of your fellow man. You can help your neighbor. You don't know who's in foreclosure that's living on your block, do you? Oh, you just see them struggling. You see that car can't make it to work every day, but you just go on about your business. Your life is your life. Just, society has gotten to the point to where we are no longer the village raising the child, but we have turned into individuals that are all about me. What the fuck? I thought that me generation was before Generation X, but after Generation X? No. The millennials know what to do. All of the y'all baby boomers, I'm gonna say it from 1970 on back, y'all all act like a fool. Get it together. Help your fellow man. Stop being all about yourself. Yeah, search for yourself, find yourself. All about, ooh, let me find me. When you find you, is it making the world better? Is it making it cleaner? Is it making the environment come back to where it used to be when you were a child? Are you just stuffing your face with a box of processed food and running through the drive-thru while you drinking your GMO wine and liquor and beer? Wake up, America. The poor people are here. And they're at the point to where you can't step over them anymore, because they're all in the streets and in your neighborhood. Don't depend upon the churches. Start setting policy. Because I live in a state where they criminalize the homeless. I live in a state that mistreats them and stays in the National Attorneys Association's top 5 list of criminalizing homeless people while they call it compassionate disruption. Compassion my ass. They are mistreating the people and pushing them to the side and wishing they would disappear, while all the while they're just trying to let churches and other people, because they're not giving the money and the funds toward building the adequate number of affordable housing, and just saying move in. Instead, they purge lists and redo them every other year, and then they move and kick them to the side and then charge them for it as criminals. Not to mind they don't have no money to pay any of the charges they're being fined with. And then they take your stuff and you got to pay $200 to dig through a pile that's as high as a garbage heap from the 1930s 30s Depression era. And you never find what you're looking for. It's bad enough that's all that's going on. But then to placate them, to play like on media, oh, we're helping, we're helping. You're not telling people that those homeless shelters charge them. They want to do what is called handing over your handing over your Social Security check, where they're in control of it, guardianships of your checks. That's what they're forcing those people to do, so they can rob them Social Security checks and dwindle out a little bit to them, while they claiming the rest is kept from rent, and all it's doing is paying somebody's high-ass rent in a fancy part of town. That ain't helping nobody. Don't Reverend Ike the world. You know what I'm saying? All right. So keep up with the Poor People's March. Join an event. Go to poorpeoplescampaign.org and look up and see what's going on in your neck of the woods. And if there isn't nothing, get you a poster board, say "Feed the Hungry" on it, and go out there and hold it up. All right. If you enjoy this story told with a soulful point of view, contact me at FeministNewsN@gmail.com, and I'll make sure I send you a PayPal link so you can support. And thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Check me out on Facebook, and see you on the next show. All right.